Good evening, everyone. Welcome to today's Alumni Talk organized by the Office of Alumni Affairs IIIT. I'm Harsh, and our speaker for today's talk is alumnus Aditya Jain. So I'll give a brief introduction about Aditya and then we can hear from our speaker. So Aditya completed his bachelor's in EC from IIIT-Delhi, class of 2018. He's an aerospace graduate student at the University of Toronto, Canada, and an intern at the Montreal Institute of Learning Algorithms. His research interests are robotics and building AI technologies in the field of healthcare, agriculture, urban planning, and climate change. He has spent time in industrial research labs that include Microsoft Research and TCS Research as well. In his personal life, he's a certified yoga instructor and practitioner. We'd now like to hear from our speaker, but before that, I highly encourage all the attendees in this call to utilize this opportunity to interact with our speaker. While doing so, a humble request to kindly raise your hands whenever you wish to interact, and you can also type in your questions in the chat box. So without further ado, let's welcome Aditya. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Harsh, and thank you so much, Dipali, for organizing this and coordinating things. Thank you for that. So I'll just share my screen. I'm not sure if I will be able to see the chat, the question in the chat. So if there is any question, then maybe Harsh can help me with that, or we can take the questions together at the last as well. Whatever suits. Is my screen visible? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thank you so much, everyone, for showing up. I know it's Sunday evening, so it must be really hard. So thank you so much for joining my presentation. I was slightly confused, like what should be the title of what I should be giving off my talk, and it's only today morning that I finalized it. So today I'll be talking about how to mindfully travel your learning journey. I believe your journey has been started that given you are in Delhi. I will not be telling what is right or what exactly is wrong. Like that is something you get to decide. But yeah, just some of my thoughts. So before we dive into that, I would just like to show you my journey starting from Chopati Delhi through some visuals. um, so during the second semester, along with my batchmates, we co-founded the UAV team of Chopati Delhi. We named it Aurora. I guess maybe some of you are part of it right now or would really intend to be. It was quite challenging for us because we just didn't have any background in aerospace or robotics, but just some passion for aerial vehicles. And we set for us an unsurmountable task of participating in the world's largest drones competition for students. So few of us, of our batchmates, guided by the PhD student, we started this group back in 2015, wherein we were building fixed wing aircrafts. So we participated in this competition. So finally, after a year, with lots of hard work, learning, we established this group at IIIT Delhi. We participated in this competition called as SUS, held in Maryland. So we all went there, and as you can see, some of the drones of other really good universities. Um, yeah, so this is on the bottom left. You can see my colleagues. We are flying on the airstrip. We were given a few tasks, and quite happy to share that the team is quite established now, and we are continue doing some very good work. So yeah, some lovely times I got to spend at Delhi. So then later, I spent quite some time in the self-driving group of the university, wherein the whole idea was building autonomous cars for last-minute connectivity, especially for developing countries. Again, really good experience working with some great people and hardware. Just to show you a short demo. So this is me. I'm sitting in the car, about to start it. I'm sure some of you might be working for it right now. The group was called as Swarat. So this is we're entering the academic block, just passing by the academic block. On the bottom, you see are the actually LiDAR scans, the 3D map of the world that we are building that helps us to build where the obstacles are in the free location. So on the top right, you see actually the occupancy map, wherein the black boxes, they denote, okay, where are the obstacles. And we gave the demo to quite a few of good people, like also the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi. So yeah, I mean, Surat is actually hiring for research engineers, interns. So if you're really interested in joining the group, you should definitely contact Professor Saket Anand. Then I led a group of people along with Professor Sujit for uh, deploying aerial mapping solutions using drones in the city of Chandigarh. So what we did was, for the first time in India, a city was being aerially mapped using drones to build orthomosaics. So what you see on the left is uh, an image or a map being built for the Sector 16 of Chandigarh. There's actually a stadium out here. So we actually flew the drone in the city. We stitched these images and built this digital map. And we overlaid this map on Google Earth to show its accuracy of georeferencing. And this map was actually intended to be used by the government to check for encroachment and also for digital land record management. So another really good project that I was happy to be part of, and a good learning curve. And we also try to show a good 3D models of different areas. This is the digital elevation model or another area of Chandigarh, wherein the red area denotes the elevation. So the more the red color, the higher is the elevation, and similarly the inverse is for the blue color. So such kind of maps, they actually gives a good information of the topography of a particular area. Then we actually build a land record management system or digital land record management system. So after we build this map, we made such kind of shape files wherein for every block, we would actually enter information for every of these particular plots. And then the search becomes really easy. So basically you can just simply search in your database, okay, for a particular person, and you can pinpoint that in the digitally in the map where that location is. And similarly, the update of the land records becomes really easy, and until now, it was usually done using paper-based or a lot of files. But the government was really interested to have this digital land record management. And yeah, also did for quite a few agricultural fields. Yeah, quite a few press coverage for this project. Then I took a semester break for the winter, and also took the summer. So I've spent about 8, 9 months at Microsoft Research, where I was interning. So I was part of the technology for emerging markets group, wherein we were building frugal, low-cost solutions for data-driven agriculture, especially for countries like India. So the idea was, can we build some solutions to gather data from the farms cheaply, as compared to say drones or satellite imagery, which is not really feasible in a country like ours. So I'll just show you a small video wherein Bill Gates visited one of the deployments in Seattle.
More than 3/4 of the poor people in the world are farmers. They're faced with a very tough problem. They have to grow enough food to feed their family every year. When you think of digital technology, you don't think of measuring soil moisture. You don't think about helping people know when to plant or understand what's going wrong on their farm. But if we can make these sensors small enough, cheap enough, then the chance to get this down to more and more farmers, get them additional productivity, it's pretty exciting.
We're taking this data and we built machine learning and AI models to do two things. One is virtual sensor prediction. So we're predicting things like leaf wetness, evapotranspiration, and solar radiation.
So happy to share that the app being used by Bill Gates and also the balloon platform that you just saw was built by me from scratch as part of the internship. So the idea was that the idea is to get data from the farms, like from sensors on the ground, from real imagery using drones, and then use that data to provide insights to the farmers. But something like drones is very niche technology for farmers in developing countries. So we built this a balloon platform wherein there's a mobile on the balloon. when the farmer can walk around, gather data from the farm, aerial imagery, and this phone on the farmer, it, so this helps the farmer to actually see what area of the farm he is actually mapped and what is left. So yeah, another amazing time I got to spend. Okay, yeah, so some amazing folks I was fortunate to work with, and yeah, some really amazing people. Then yeah, finally graduated in 2018. Well, but I didn't really get my degree during the convocation because I was graduating a semester later because of my break. Then I joined the lab of the robotics lab of TCS as a full-time researcher, wherein I worked on quite a few problems related to industrial robotics, presented in conferences, and also when the pandemic hit for quite a few months, I worked on epidemic modeling and also submitted a proposal to the principal scientific advisor to the PMO. So again, some really good time I got to spend at TCS, and yeah, some amazing folks again. Um, Now, then I joined the Montreal Institute for Learning Algorithms, wherein I'm working on AI for climate change. Particularly, we are building machine learning models for monitoring the biodiversity. We all know climate change is coming and it is real, and it is having catastrophic impacts across different ecosystems of the planet, and especially different species are being affected at different rates. So currently we are trying to monitor how is the population of the insect species changing, which are actually quite under under tracked. So what you see on the screen is a light trap which attracts moths. This is UV light which attracts the moths. And the idea is to build a machine learning stack which identifies the different species of moths that we are seeing. And think of this, we having hundreds of these deployments in different forests and tracking this data over a period of time, which helps us give a good estimate of the population of different species changing over a period of time. So this is how it's deployed in the night because moths are mostly nocturnal species. Um, So just a short video of how the trap looks like. So this is a blue color is a UV light which attracts the moths, and it's usually powered by a solar panel. Okay. And let me show you how finally what happens, like our software, what it does. So after we get this data from the trap, we basically first localize the objects of interest. We classify, as you can see, at the level of species, what moth it is. And we also need to track the moths as they travel across the frames. Because at the end of the day, we want to keep a count of how many species, how many counts of every species. And so we don't want to double count. Right. So if some of people who work on machine learning, and so this is some really exciting area you can apply your skills on. And so yeah, I'm at the I'm at the University of Toronto doing my graduate work in the aerospace department. So let's get to the main stuff. Um, I was fortunate to have been done all this work, but the question is, what is the correct way of studying at college? Like, especially at Delhi, where the coursework it's not easy, and you have a lot of things that you can do. So, what are some of the things that you should keep in mind while you're spending your time? Um, the first thing is do not copy. Please work on your assignments diligently. You're not here in this great institution to learn to copy, but to learn to learn. And I'm not saying this you should not copy because you might get fail or something like that, but that's how you learn. Like you will the assignments that will be solving is actually where you will actually be developing your concepts, your core concepts, and you will use that knowledge in the industry, in the academia. So if you're not doing your assignments correctly, you will definitely not do good in your future. So make sure you work on assignments in the right way, work on it, spend nights, and try to understand what is happening because ultimately it's the skill that you learn through the assignments is what you will be using. And nobody will give you a job just because you have done a machine learning course on your transcript. People will test your knowledge, and you will have knowledge only when you have solved your assignments. So this is really important, and that's why it's in bold. The another important thing is the core courses that you have in your first 2 years. They are really important. I hope someone would have told me when I was back then, especially all the math courses, math 1, 2, 3, 4. If you are in CS, then maybe DSA. If you're in EC, then EC respective courses. Please make sure you do all those courses really well, because the advanced courses that we'll be taking in the last 2 years will be based on these first 2 year courses. And even in industry, when you'll be working, it's the actually the first 2 years courses that will be really important. So make sure that you spend time on your courses, and just don't get away with it. So those are really important. uh, yeah, so while you're college, make use of the office hours of the instructor and the TA. So I mean, we're having some really good faculty at IIIT Delhi, and so just meet them, go into the office hours, and not always just talk about the coursework, but just talk about how is it like studying grad school, or what do you think about the research area, like what you are solving, or ask them what they working on. So such kind of interactions, like they are really important. And since we already have a dedicated time office hours with the instructor and also with the TAs of the course, so make sure like just visit them. And because that's a really personal way of getting to know the instructor, um, to know what he works on, or how is it like doing a PhD. If you want to do a PhD, ask an instructor, okay, I have plans of doing a PhD, how it should turn out. So make use of that opportunity. Explore research with faculty. Again, we are at a great institution which focuses heavily on research, unlike many other colleges in NCR. So, since you're a part of it, make sure that we explore some kind of research either through projects or in summer, and not just focus on getting the job at the end of 4 years. Everyone gets that. So, while you're at college, again, do explore research with, and we have like a lot of transdisciplinary research happening at Delhi. So I think you will find your fit somewhere. Yeah. Explore clubs. We have again a lot of clubs at Repair Delhi. Do participate in some of them if you can, or maybe start one. Like I would say that the college was so supportive when we were starting the UAV team, and especially we needed a lot of funding. Even Professor Jalote, when he was the director back then, he used to actually invite us. We gave him a lot of personal presentations. So yes, the college is really supportive, and if you have some really good ideas to forming student groups, start them. Uh, uh, Attend seminar talks. I guess they still would be happening maybe on Thursdays, I guess. I didn't understand most of them, and I still don't understand the talks I go. But that's a really good way of actually taking a break from coursework and seeing what people are actually doing in the industry, or in like academia elsewhere. And it's also a good way to meet some like-minded people who are sitting in this room, or maybe talk to the speaker. So I would highly suggest that attend some of these seminar talks and get your brain to move. Yeah, also explore some activities outside your coursework, like maybe participate in some sports competitions. If you like music, go for music. We also have this really good opportunity where, as part of a degree, you have to do some kind of NG volunteering. So that's again a very good way of building your personality while you are studying at college. So do explore some of the activities as they come by. And again, the last and also the most important thing is to travel your own path. Like personally, when I was at college, a lot of people did a lot of things. So it's always overwhelming, and you always think, okay, I should do that. That person is working with that professor. He will get a recommendation. He will end up getting a good internship at the end of 3 years. Okay, I should do this. Okay, maybe I should do GSOC as well. 20 people are getting GSOC, or maybe okay, I think I should do this. I should do this. So I would say don't try to copy what anyone else is doing. Do what works for you, and whatever works for you is the right thing. So just focus on your path and everything will turn out. But if you just try to imitate what other person's footsteps are, nothing great will happen. So the focus is really important, and I think you'll realize it like as you move forward. So yeah, again, the first two are really important. Please work your assignments rightly. They're really important. The first 2 year courses are also really important. Make sure that you do them correctly, and yeah, please focus on your path. Like, do not try to focus on what others are doing. uh, so I've got an opportunity to intern in quite a few good research labs, and people also ask me like, how do you apply for research internships and how does the process go? So I think I might as well discuss this in this presentation. The first question is, what should I have, like if I want to apply for a research internship, say at Microsoft Research or somewhere else? What is something I should have in my portfolio, or what experience is really important to be able to get that job and do well there? So yeah, you should not have a very bad GPA. Even if you do, the internships are still fine, so it doesn't really matter. So yeah, that's okay. But yeah, don't have a very bad GPA. I think anything above 7 is decent. Doesn't matter. Yeah, you should be really strong with the fundamentals. So that's why I said the first 2 years courses are really important. You should be good with math courses. You should be good with programming, especially if you are like from CS. So some of my ideas will be mostly towards more CS oriented jobs like robotics and machine learning. So I'm really sorry if I'm not able to help the EC people here. I remember interviewing for an internship at Google Mountain View, and so so the first was a live programming question. The second was a machine learning, and the questions they asked, I thought, okay, it will be a Google interview, so it will be really hard. And he asked me a very basic questions about like one very basic. He asked me actually that's two questions. One is what is reinforcement learning. The second he asked me is, well, deep learning theory has been there for the last 4 or 5 decades, but it has only picked up in the last 10 years. And why is that so? Well, that's because we only have GPUs since last 10 years. So it was as simple as that. But they actually test your fundamentals. They won't really ask you big short questions. And yeah, I didn't make it because I performed poorly on a very trivial coding question, something I wasn't really strong back then. So yeah, if it's good that you focus on your programming regardless. It's good to have a prior research experience. I would say it's mostly required, and that can be in form of actually just course research work or working with the faculty. It doesn't really have to be at a particular lab prior. So if you can demonstrate some kind of research aptitude, having read research papers, then that is good. The fourth is recommendations. A lot of, or I would say most of them, research internships, they do require recommendation letters. I've underlined say impactful, because more than who writes it, what matters is what it's being written. So only if we have worked with the faculty for a really long time, done good work, only then that faculty or any other person will write a very personalized recommendation. So make sure that you do good work, whoever you work with, and not just work for them to get a recommendation. So recommendation again is really important, and a very personalized one does have a huge impact. And yeah, good presentation and oration skills is also important. You might be really good at your research skills, but if you're not able to talk it through an interview, then it doesn't really work out. So make sure you practice talking, you practice doing presentations, explaining your work to people, and that's how they will get opportunities. Prior publications is it's an optional, obviously. I put a star, but yes, if you do have some publication, it does have a huge impact for sure. The next question is where to actually find the opportunities, and like how to really apply. How do you find the opportunity? The first thing is actually talk to people, like talk to your alumni, talk to your seniors. What are the kind of opportunity I can get in different companies? What are the projects available? My first internship at Microsoft Research was actually started through an alumni who was already working there. I reached out to him and he said, there is this kind of project we're looking for people with expertise in drones. And so I reached out to the researcher who was working on the project, and that's how it started. So talk to your peers, talk to your seniors, talk to your alumni, and yeah, you don't know, you might just get opportunities there. You can directly apply on the company portals. I still do, and that still works. So if you know quite a few companies who offer research internships, just directly apply on the portal, and that works. I really found LinkedIn is a good way of searching for internships. It has really good filters, and the options it gives are really good. So you can try searching some of the internships on LinkedIn. In most companies in the research industry, the people doing research, they have their bio on their website and they also have their emails. So I also do get a lot of internships by directly emailing them, but it should not be a cold email. As I've underlined, it should be to a relevant researcher and not just emailing everyone on the list. Make sure your interests and experience aligns with the researcher, and also do some kind of background work as to what the researcher is doing, what his recent publications are, and then try to modify your email accordingly, and not just say I'm interested in internship and this is my CV. So make sure that you do some background work before emailing people, and that's how you will actually have an impact. And the last thing is how it feels like working at industrial research labs. Well, it's just amazing. This is somewhere I would always like to work with. You work on really good ideas, state of the art in that field, amazing people, humble people, really good intellectual and research atmosphere, and yes, good pay. So yeah, I love working at industrial research labs. Uh, let's come to graduate school. Say if you are, I believe some of you, especially in third or fourth years, or maybe earlier than that, are thinking of doing masters or PhD abroad. So what are things that maybe one should keep in mind while applying, and what factors to consider in? So my this will be slightly focused only on applying abroad. So I can't really help you with maybe doing MTech in India. So my apologies for that. The first and very important thing is to understand why do you want to do masters or PhD abroad, and you need to have that purpose to yourself. Like you need to justify yourself, why am I doing this? Maybe you because you want to settle or work abroad. That is your motivation. Maybe because you think you get better professional opportunities. Maybe you get earn more while doing masters abroad and staying there, or maybe because everyone around you does. And believe me, none of them is wrong, but it's just very important to have understanding to yourself, why are you doing this? And again, like maybe all of them are correct, all of them three are correct things, but just it's very important to have to know why do you want to go. The next important question is, how do you actually shortlist the universities? I mean, there are so many of them in so many countries, so how do you actually go about it? Uh, the first very important thing is the country, which I think people neglect uh, for the following reasons. You should know what are the post graduation work permit regulations. You might be doing the best university in the world, but what if the post graduation work permit, the regulations are so rough that you just couldn't work in a country after graduating? So then what's the point? So make sure that the work permit regulations are quite immigration friendly to the country you go in. Also check about the permanent residency. So if your motivation is to settle abroad, so what is the options for permanent residency? Is the country immigration friendly? That is something really important to gauge. The third is also the job ecosystem in that country. Um, you might be again doing at a very good university, a very good research facilities, but if that industry does not have that ecosystem, say robotics ecosystem is just not there in that country, then what will you do? So just be mindful of that. And the fourth thing is, which I think people again neglect, you should be also be mindful of, is there any Indian settlement out there? Because when you start to live, you need to have Indian grocery, you need to have Indian food. It's good to have some Indian relatives around, friends around. So again, this is very personal. So, but do make sure whatever country you choose or wherever city you choose, you maybe have some kind of Indian settlement out there. The second thing is also, which is quite obvious, is make sure you check the faculty, the course curriculum. Does it actually align with your own interests? Can you do the kind of courses what you want to do? If you are more interested in research, how is the research atmosphere? So that is something really important to take care when shortlisting universities. What is the program fees? What is the tuition fees? What will be the living costs for the years you will be living? People just think that okay, maybe the fees is $100,000, but I will earn more than that when I graduate. But believe me, talking about $100 and then going out to take a loan of say 50, 60 lakh rupees from the bank, it's really taxing. And if you have such a huge loan while you are studying, that's an added mental pressure. So please make sure that you have this reasonable estimate and evaluate with your own financial conditions what works out best for you. So yeah, this is really important. Also make sure is the curriculum and the country allows you to work part-time so that you can all at least in part you can cover a living cost. Some of the programs they have really consuming course curriculum which leaves you of no time of working part-time. So you really need to take out the living cost as well from your own pocket. So make sure again that you have the understanding. Again, so applying for universities is a huge financial burden as well. So before you actually start to apply, just have an estimate how much will it cost, because the cost for GRE, the cost for TOEFL, the individual application cost for every university you apply. Have an estimate of that and how much can you afford. So these things are really important because people they just think on the fly, but when you actually start to do the groundwork, a lot of things come by. So make sure you have done all this background work before you think or start to apply for graduate school abroad. And yeah, again, so what is a good application to get into a good university? What are the things that I should have so that I can get into a good school? And it's quite similar to what I discussed for in research internships. The first and most importantly, you need lots of luck. Well, you need lots of luck. You might be really amazing, but you would still get in, and many people with inferior profiles they do get in. So there is a lot of sketchiness in the process. There's no transparency. So just don't take it hard to yourself. Just do your best and just believe in the luck. And so yeah, let's focus on the things which you can work on. So again is the recommendation letters. Some kind of it's like most important to the least important in the point. So recommendation letters are really important, and again impactful recommendation letters. Again, who writes is less important, but what he writes is more important. So if say you are in second year right now and you are pretty sure that you want to study abroad, like I had with clarity, so make sure you work with the faculty with your interests and work for him at least a year or two, so that you go do good work, you have good research experience, you might get a publication, and that person is just directly recommends you. And a lot of the faculty they do have colleagues in some really great universities, and with just that, with a single email, you get a graduate opportunity. So make sure you do have good recommendation letters. Publications again, it's optional, it's not always required, but if you have one, then it's really impactful. If you have research experience specifically in industry or in academia like in the college, then that adds really good value. Try to develop good writing skills as you travel through your journey, because when you apply you need to write statement of purpose and a lot of other things. So if you have good writing skills, that really helps. Again, it's good have a decent GPAs. I would an 8, but even above 7.5 is good. Just don't have a very bad GPA. And again, a very bad GRE and IELTS score is also not desirable. But again, the most important things I've written in the board. So I'll just give some personal tips about graduate school applications. So these are personal again. It's up to you to take it or not. And these are just my personal experiences. So you should not just take it as is. I would say that always take an immigration friendly country. Please take an immigration friendly country, because once you get here, and some countries are really strict, which takes a lot of pressure on your mental health. So I would personally always recommend take a country which is good in immigration. Go to a cost effective university, because everyone gets a good job in tech industry. Just don't go for the brand name. Literally in the recent long years, it doesn't really matter, and unless obviously you are rich. So make sure that if you get into a decent university, which comes into a budget, then it's not a bad deal. I would say that work for a couple of years before you go to graduate school, for a few reasons. First is that you get tired after you graduate from IIIT-Delhi, and then graduate school is again a lot of hard work. So it kinds of burns out. As I talked with my batchmates who went straight after the undergrad, so it's a good idea to take a break, to earn money, to enjoy, to travel, and also that you will save quite a bit of money so that you can apply for graduate school, or you can use that in your application. So it's usually a good idea to work for a couple of years. Don't apply to too many schools. If obviously if you have a lot of money, shortlist a few ones that you think you will surely get in, and maybe apply to a few ones that you would want to get in, but you might not. And once you maybe have your a few admits from a few universities, um, factor a few things obviously as we discussed, but finally just go with your hunch. Nothing is absolutely wrong or absolutely right. If you think you want to go there, just go there. uh, so the last thing, which I think is the most important thing, is some of the personal values, some of the personal attributes that you must possess, and most importantly must develop as you go through your graduation. Because these things are really, these are the core, these soft skills are the most important things that make up your personality, and that actually defines your professional career as well. And I wish somebody had told me back then, but okay, I'll just share my wisdom. Um, First thing, something also quite obvious, is hardworking. And I believe if you've got an admission at Delhi, uh, you already work hard. So that is something I shouldn't talk about much. But just to give you an idea, you need to work hard anywhere you go. It doesn't stop. But the thing is, you just enjoy later. So yeah, you should be really hardworking if you want to do good stuff. Be inquisitive. We are engineers. We're meant to find problems. We're meant to solve problems. So, and not just get grades, get job, and done. So have that inquisitiveness in your mind, and just that tinkering thing. Patience is really important as you go through your journey. Again, you might be overwhelmed to these achievements of your peers. Okay, he got an internship at Google at the end of first year, or he did a GSOC in the first semesters. So don't be overwhelmed with that. You traverse your own journey, and if you're doing good work and you're doing your work with honesty, you will get what you should get. And so yeah, just be patient. If I give you my example, I didn't even know how to write a for loop when we were doing recursion in the course, and I'm now doing very good research work in computer science itself, maybe better than those who were very good at coding back then. So just be patient while you are through your journey, and do your own work. Perseverance is really important, especially to Pine Delhi. Things get hard very quickly and for a very long time. So just have that patience. Things will get better sooner or later, and that perseverance is something really important. And humility. Well, just make sure that you not consider anyone beneath you. You're not above anyone. Even if you're getting good professional success, that doesn't mean somebody is inferior to you. So humility is really important. And also, you're not beneath to anyone. No matter people are doing some great work around you, they might be going at great places, And so, but there's no point of feeling inferior to them. Everyone have their own journey, and being in such a great institution is such an achievement of your own. So yeah, as I said, I've been saying again, you have your own journey and there is no comparison you need to make of yourself with others. Be grateful of what you have, the family, the friends, the good education, whatever God has given you. And it's really important to be mindful of of the luxury that you have. It's also very important to give back to the community as you rise through your career, to the country if you moved out, to the college, to the school that you studied, to your friends, to your family. Just like I found some time to connect with my alma mater, it's also important for you to connect to your own alma mater to help people around you grow. You grow not only when you grow, you also grow when people around you grow. So it's really important that you take the community with you as you're growing and not just thinking about your own self. And my personal understanding of life is that it's only about happiness. There is no other meaning or goal of life. So while you are traversing this human journey, make sure you just enjoy the process because that's what it only matters. And I'll just like to end by a beautiful quote by Professor Pankaj Jalote. He mentioned in one of his blogs that create value and not just the perception of the value. While I was in college, I saw lot of people who have good seemingly value. They did some great things and they had amazing grades. But when I got to personally interact with them, I saw they didn't have that knowledge. They were just doing things by hook or by crook, and that does not work out in the long run. You need to create value, and the value comes by working. You need to work diligently, you need to understand concepts, you need to travel your own path. So that's how you create value, and value creates value. So don't focus much on the publicity of what you do or just to show off what you know. Spend time on knowing things. And so yeah, thank you so much for listening. And yeah, feel free to reach out to me through email. Any questions? Any questions? Did I bore everyone? Was it too bad? Mm, no questions? Yeah, yes, Athar, please.
You recommended that you should wait a couple years and work for a couple years before applying for grad school, right?
Personal, yeah.
My question is, when in this time, wouldn't you sort of start to lose contact with your professors from college? So it might get hard to get letter of recommendations.
For sure. Yeah, that's a really good point. And it does happen. But like for example, I applied for some kind of internships when I was in college, so they kind of already wrote a letter for me back then. So it does work out, and they do right. It still works out, and I wouldn't lie. I just took a recommendation letter from a faculty at Delhi for a scholarship last month, and I think I worked for her 6 years ago. So it still works out fine. There's no issue, and so and if you have done good work, it still works out. Yeah, but that's a
All
good point.
right. All right. Thank you.
Aditya, I think we have questions in the chat box as well.
Yeah.
Anirudh asks, how was your experience at TCS?
Yeah. So I think my experience will be slightly different because I had already spent time at Microsoft before joining TCS Research. So obviously there is a difference between the two companies. So, but otherwise they do really good work. at TCS Research. They have really good projects. The people are really nice. They have a lot of flexibility, like in college, like go whenever you want to go, come whenever you want to come, and there's a lot of freedom what you can do while you're at the company. So in that respect, it's really amazing, and they do pay decently as compared to the other companies. So I would say yes, then yeah, go for it if you want to get some research experience. And how can I manage time between academics and assignments? So what do you mean by academics? Is how is academics different from assignments? Like, Vishesh, can you elaborate on that? Um, Vishesh, if you can tell me. Okay, self-study. Yeah. uh, so to be honest, I actually cried in the first semester because it was super hard. Um, I think the key important point is to study every day. Say if you attended a lecture today, make sure you revise the notes so that the things are in your mind, and also prioritize things. So if something is say due 3 weeks down the line, that is slightly less important to things which is due in the next 2 days. And the third really important thing is to do work in chunks. The assignment may be really huge, but there are small pieces that need to be completed. So make sure you do the small chunks to get your work done. Uh, and yeah, I think the fourth thing I would say is that you just learn over a period of time. There is no rule of thumb how you manage things, because people manage things and the time differently depending on their own personal aptitude. So again, yeah, it depends on that. And yeah, thank you. Thank you, Varun. Did I answer your question, Vishesh? I'm not sure. Okay, Naman asks some advice for like myself. Thank you. Aiming for masters abroad in CS for yeah. Okay, so I think Naman, you're quite in the same bucket like as I was. Mm, I would say that we should be good with programming and the math courses. And in the last 2 years, like you're free to take any course from any department, right? So like I have to do just I guess 8 EC courses. Um, so you can do the courses from the computer science department, explore explore research with faculty in the computer science department, and yeah, then that works. Nobody really cares if you've done an ECE and if you're applying for a computer science degree. But make sure that you do the core courses of computer science like operating systems and ADA and I guess OOPS, because some universities they really want to have those courses on your transcripts, even if you don't have the degree. But in a nutshell, just do the courses, the core courses of computer science. Do some kind of research, computer science research with professors, and then it should be good. And even in ECE numbers, you have a lot of courses like machine learning, like control theories, which also are kind of in computer science fields. So yeah, that should still be fine.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, Aniket.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks for the session. And so a couple of questions that I had in mind. So first of all, I was curious to know, like, what's the difference between an MTech in India, like doing MTech from a tier one college, let's say from IIIT-Delhi only, or let's say if you move on to IITs, and doing MS from outside?
Well, the difference lies in your personal life goals. As I said, some people they want to settle abroad. They want to work abroad. So doing a master's from abroad is something that's a path for it. Um, I would say that if you have studied at IIIT-Delhi already, I'm not sure how much value or gain you would have by doing a master's again from India. PhD would have a lot of value, but not masters. But I see a lot of people, they do their integrated masters like from Delhi, it's like in the 5 years. So that is something really good. You get your master's degree with just one additional year. And a lot of job opportunities, like if you go to the company's websites, it's kind of reserved for only if you are master's student. So if your idea is to just go into a job and you don't want to study too much further, uh, then it just get done with an MTech in India or one additional year from the college and get in the industry. But if you really want to explore research, or if you like say if you want to wish to travel, or if you want to settle abroad, then maybe doing a master's from outside it makes sense.
So do you mean to say that doing an MS is far much better than doing an MTech from India? Which may vary depending on our personal goals, but according to you,
yes.
MS is better.
Again, it depends on the personal goals. For example, if I talk about the academics, so say I'm at the University of Toronto right now, I would say the courses at my Delhi are nearly at par what's been taught here, both in terms of the assignments of the faculty. So that's not much of a difference. But yeah, robotics is here is really good, which I didn't find at while Delhi. So that's why I came here, because I wanted to do some very good robotics, which is not there in a lot of good Indian institutions. So if you have that very specialized interest and you think you're not getting that in the college, then yes, you should explore.
And sorry, just one added question.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, this is a personal question. Like, I'm really confused right now. I'm in the third year right now. So the third year is going to come to an end, and I've been searching what I want to do and what I want to see myself 5 years down the line. Maybe I'm too early, but I have to plan right now. So like, I'm really confused, like what I want to pursue, maybe doing an MS or a job. So if you could guide me on that path.
Um, uh, I will, like as I said in my personal tip, if someone asks me, I would say that work for a couple of years and then go for your masters, because you actually better tend to understand like what you really want to do. And you might do all your groundwork right now, like shortlisting the universities, maybe even give the GRE and the TOEFL because that's valid for a few years. But if you get a job, that's a really good idea to get into a grad school, because I have seen people even here, people will have some industrial experience, they do better as compared to the people who directly come from the undergrad. Because even here, like when you graduate, you have to search out for jobs, and it's even harder here as compared to India. So if you already have that experience of searching job, that really adds value. Uh, but again, it's something your personal call for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And is your triple IT Delhi email active?
Yeah.
Oh.
That's I very actively use it.
Oh.
That's the most active email I use actually.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Oh, maybe I'll just answer Varun's question and then I'll come to Bhagesh. What are the top industries in India? How do you apply them for full-time research roles? Okay, so obviously Microsoft Research, Google Research India, then you have TCS Research, then you have quite a few small-scale startups, industrial research startups. But these big, if we just specifically talk about Microsoft or Google Research, most of the full-time opportunities are reserved for PhD graduates. But nowadays they have lots of research engineer roles for people like us. And to apply for them, as I said, you can directly apply on their portal. They do have openings out there, but the competition is really bad. So you really need to be really amazing to have full-time job role out there. I hope I answered that. And yes, Bhagesh.
So, like, as you mentioned that you explored various domains during the college time, also, like, for example, you took part in the drone project and also in the self-driving car project. So, like, at the same time, we need to manage the academics and stuff, other stuff also. So, when we are in a phase when we are still learning, because we have core courses right now also, And as I'm completing my second year right now, after that, also in third year, I'll have to look out for preparation for internships or any like other course load also in college increases if we take some specialized courses. So how should we maintain that kind of, if we want to if we have the willpower to pursue this and we want to dedicate time, but still somehow in the middle of the way we might get deviated from the end goal, and we might not be able to do well in both domains, in the project as well and in the studies. So how do we maintain the balance so that
Yeah.
both are fruitful?
It's a great question. So first thing is important that there's no compulsion to do everything. Like, even though I wrote on my presentation, there is no compulsion to explore things. There is no compulsion to do clubs, but it's good to do. The second thing I want to tell you that the people who do all these things, they do compromise somewhere or the other. They can say a lot of people I've seen who spend time in the clubs, they compromise on their academics. People who are doing good in both, they compromise on their health, on their personal life, and sometimes on their mental health as well. So to answer your question, first is to see how much time you have, and second thing is to do stuff not only because it needs to be done or because everyone is doing. You should have an interest. Like, I did the drones thing because I had interest for them, and since I had interest for it, I just found time for it. So if you will have time and if you have interest, you will develop the time. Second thing is to have a very practical understanding of how much workload you have and how much you can do. If you think already that you have a lot of things to already on your plate, then there is no point of taking anything up, right? So yeah, again, so there are quite a few factors, and again, it's about slightly time management. You do the most recent uh, the task which is due most recently as compared to task which is ahead in time. But again, like, there's no one short answer for that. And like, apart from the academic, just say take one thing that interests you and not taking say five things. I hope I answered that. And maybe Akanksha single.
So, yeah, like, so just one follow-up question.
Sure.
Like as you mentioned, after college, like we should, if we are able to, if we get a nice job, and we should be able to like we should pursue industrial experience also. So like at the time when we are pursuing industrial experience, let's say the experience we had with the professor in college, like takes a little time spent over the period of the time when we're in the industry. And then if we need letter of recommendations from professors while applying for masters and PhD, so like how can we gather recommendations, because it might be that those recommendations might get old and they might tend to ask what we did in the recent years when we were in the industry. So
Oh, when you have the recommendation letters, especially for graduate school, it's not about it has to be recent. Um, it's only like when you work with that particular person. So it doesn't really matter. As I said, I just took a recommendation letter for work, something I did 6, 7 years ago, and that's still okay. And there's also a similar question. So the faculty, they still write recommendations if there has been some time, or maybe say if you are graduating, just let the faculty know that okay, I will be applying for graduate school in a couple of years. Can you write a recommendation letter for me, or can you write a recommendation letter now so that I can take it later? So the approach I did used to take was, as you said, it actually, when you ask for a couple of years later, the person might not be able to write that with that percent experience. So what I used to do was, I always, while I was used to work for that person, I used to take a recommendation letter from them. Like, I used to ask them to write a recommendation letter for me and just keep it with them. Or if I'm applying for somewhere already, then they used to write it. But yeah, it's good to ask them to write the letter while you're working with them, so that they can write good things. Yeah, I hope I answered that. And
thank you.
yeah, yes, Akanksha, please.
How difficult it is in terms of curriculum or applying to colleges if we want to switch from computer science to aerospace?
So actually, that's again a very good question. I'm mostly doing robotics here, which is not really like I'm not doing core aerospace. So like I'm not doing structures, I'm not doing fluid dynamics. So there is this very flexibility here, like we have in IIIT Delhi. So my degree is in aerospace, but my courses are again around robotics, something I'm familiar around. But you took up a very important point. Please apply to programs which you have some background into, and not something very different, because you'll suffer a lot during graduate school. So yeah, did I answer your question, Akanksha?
I had a similar question to this. So if
Yeah.
we are trying to, like, I'm in my first year and I'm currently like looking for graduate programs. So like, since they're more streamlined and more specific, how should we go about finding out what will be the best for us?
As I said, the first year is, I think, is too early for you to gauge that right now. Maybe in your second or third year, when you would have done some kind of research work, you'll have some confidence as to what you can do and what your interests are, and then you can better see, okay, which program matches me. Um, yeah, so maybe when you eventually apply at the end of third year or at in fourth year, or maybe after you graduate, then those different streams will make better sense to you, and not
Okay,
right now.
thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Yes, and Ashant.
Sir, if I am willing to pursue research in robotics, so what all skill should I have, or what all subjects should I have a really good grip on?
Do a lot of math courses, calculus, math 1, 2, 3, 4, linear algebra, probability and statistics. You should be really good at. Um, Good with programming, Python and MATLAB, and do machine learning, do computer vision, do IoT in the as you go to the courses in the last 2 years. If you should talk about software-based robotics, because these days it's mostly about algorithms and software, and not that much about the hardware. So yeah, a lot of CS courses to be exact.
And sir, how much does the CGPA matter for applying research or
For
some
what?
MS program?
As I said, it should not be bad. Like anything above 7 is good. But like don't fret about these things. I mean, if you have good research work or if you have good experience, that kind of outweighs that. And like 10, 15 years down the line, it doesn't really matter which university you went through. But yeah, just don't have a bad one. Like say, don't have less than 7 maybe.
Thank you.
Yeah. Um, is physics mandatory for getting into robotics program because of physics? Well, I'm not sure. I have not I applied to Carnegie Mellon. I didn't see physics as such mandatory. I'm not sure which physics courses. I don't know, to be honest. But I didn't see any recommendation, any prerequisite in Carnegie Mellon robotics. Like my friends they got into. Which is better, MS research or by PhD? Well, again, it depends on you. It totally depends on you. You want to do a PhD, you want to do a master's. If you eventually want to do a master's, then just go straight for PhD. Is the student usually able to view the LOI, or is it held strictly confidential? Um, the we're usually not able to view. We are not, and the person who writes is also not comfortable sharing the LOI. And in most of the universities that you apply, and also in industries, the portal will just ask you for the email of the recommender, and the person will directly upload that. It's very rare to have the person sharing the recommendation letter to you and you forwarding it. And again, the recommender is never really comfortable with that. Yeah. Any other questions? So I think if you're done. um, Any other questions?
I think we have one question.
Okay. if not in transcript, how can my knowledge for a subject like ML? Yeah, I mean, no one really sees transcripts actually, to be honest. Like I have a degree in ECE. I still easily get machine learning jobs. You just write, machine learning on your CV and people interview you. And if you know stuff, then you're good to go. No one will ask for your Coursera certificate. No one asks for your transcripts. So yeah, from a job perspective, it's the skill which it matters, and not the degree which you are in, not the college which you are in. So yeah, Aditya, do lot of hands-on work, and get the core concepts right, which is by doing an academic course. A lot of people they do scratching of machine learning, but you should know the math behind. Anything else? Yeah, and as I said, please create value. Please study rightly. That will take you far, and not just topping you. So I think if we're done, then all good.
Uh, I think we don't have any further questions. So thank you, Adit, once again for taking out the time to interact with us.
No worries. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Atar. Thank you, Harsh, and thank you so much, Dipali. Thank you. Should I share the slides? The last few slides, if that
Yeah,
helps.
that would be helpful. Yeah.
Sure, I'll do that. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you. Yeah, you can take the email from Harsh. Yeah, or I'll just again write it here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Vishesh. Thank you for comments. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.